So things we're going to talk about. So one is the value of no-code automation, because at One Pacific, we think no one should approach a project without understanding what the benefits are and how they're going to get benefits. We'll talk about Workato, which is the tool that we've used for a while it's really easy to automate business processes and integrations and things like that. So we'll go through that. We'll talk about what we call the art of the possible. So the idea in this section is to look at what some other clients of Workato have done in the automation space to try to give you some ideas about what is actually possible within your own organization. And then we'll go into build your own. So everyone will have a chance to do their own if they want to, or you can just follow along and watch as well. You'll still get a pretty good picture of how it works. And then we'll finish off with a little bit on how to learn more if you're interested in diving a little deeper into how the automation works. So what's the value of the no-code automation? So you'll hear the term no-code, low-code automation. These types of platforms, it's really a key strategy now to accelerate business process automation and digital transformation. So sometimes those are used interchangeably. The tools are used by both developers and business team members. So this is actually an important distinction. What we're seeing now is more business team or business analysts are using these types of tools, and they're closest to the business process and the business requirements. So that helps to increase the speed of what can be developed and how many automations you can do. And that in turn increases the productivity because you've got both your IT team and your business team can do a lot more in the same amount of time. And the next couple of slides, I'll talk about how that works. So what are some of the key challenges in any digital transformation? So, I mean, in today's world, it's potential to automate literally hundreds or thousands of operations that are crucial to your customer experience or general business efficiency, if you're looking at the back office or supply chains or things like that. So again, these no-code, low-code solutions play a big role in making this possible. So if you follow some of the IT information technology press, you'll be familiar with Forrester and Gartner. So Forrester notes that the software development for these automations can be as much as 10 times faster than traditional methods. And Gartner forecasts that by 2024, it'll be at 65% of all application development will be on these low-code platforms. So that's actually a pretty significant number. I mean, there are a number of reasons for this. One of them is it's faster, and we'll look at that. The other reason, I think, particularly around the Gartner area is there's a limitation on technology skills, right? So there's only so many IT team members and developers you can hire that can do this type of work. So these platforms are available for business analysts and business team members as well. So you can have a lot more people using them. So that's one of the reasons that they forecast that the platforms will account for about 60% of all app development by 2024, because in the past, it was really technically focused, and now it's less so. So it's just a wider audience, but with a wider audience, you can get more done. So this is a great slide. So 10 times faster, right? So, we have a lot of experience in this at One Pacific. So traditional coding, an integration is kind of the bottom bar, and there's a lot that goes on. Well, if I'm going to integrate two systems, my website to NetSuite, for example, or my website to SAP or Oracle, I've got to build some connectors. I've got to maintain those connectors. There's deployment, there's testing, and there's a fair bit of monitoring and operations. So that is a traditional method. And then with a platform as a service, you can shrink that somewhat because some of the functionality and tools are pre-built. But when you look at tools like Workato, it really goes down a lot. It's quick and easy to build the connectors. There's very little time to deploy, and then the monitoring is all built in, and we'll look at that. And we've had personal experience of this as well. I mean, we've done several projects with Workato in the last 12 months, and I mean, talking to our development team, we can guarantee that it's a whole lot faster. It's a completely different tool set. So we've seen the same as well, and for us, it's great because for our clients, we can do more in less time. So that's a big benefit. Looking at it from more of a kind of a team member perspective, there's increased time to value and productivity, right? So as you'll see when you build your own, it's quite easy to learn. So, I mean, this is from Workato, 77% of people starting to use the tool set are up and running within a week. So they've got some automation that they've got productive, or the day actually. And then a week, there's a few more. And so anyway, you can see that it's really a rapid learning curve to get up to speed. So rather than a long time learning how this works or developing programs, you can quickly get up to speed with some simple automations. And again, as I said before, because these tools can be used by the business team or the business analysts who are a lot closer to the business processes, they can start to contribute at a lot faster pace. So that's kind of some of the business value that we see with Workato and that we've seen ourselves. So let me just kind of do a quick introduction into the organization and talk about them and why we've worked with them. So they are a leader in what they call intelligent automation. So when we look at intelligent automation, it's integration and it's also process automation. So those two things sort of go hand in hand. They're recognized as a leader within Forrester and Gartner. One of the reasons that the way they've developed it is if you look at most companies, either small or large, data ends up being very siloed. So this department does this, and this department does this, and this department does this. And then you have spreadsheets and emails flying back and forth. So what you'll see with tools like this is you can really automate the flow of data back and forth and make it much quicker. So people can take advantage of it, advantage of the data a lot faster and make decisions faster and just get things done a little faster. Now, I mean, there are other tools that do this. So we've had great success with Workato. I also want to say they have a really strong presence in Asia, which I think is important for everyone on the call. So there's help, there's support, there's people to talk to, all in the same time zone, which can make a really big difference. It is one of the fastest growing enterprise automation platforms. So they've got over 6,000 customers. And here's some examples, some of the companies you would have heard of, both in the high growth and the global brands. And we've done a bit of analysis. And if you look at the high growth side, people are using the automation to basically extend their hockey stick growth phase. So really, rather than just bring on new people, which is a linear growth, they've used the automation to keep the high growth. For global brands, I think a lot of it is efficiency. So we're automating things, we're just getting more efficient, we're reducing costs. So two slightly different ways to use it, but the same tool set. I think what Timothy will show you later is there's thousands of app connectors. So there's connectors already built, right? So you're not starting from scratch, which again, you'll see when we do the build your own. And then there's many other pre-built integrations. Again, there's some that the Workato team has built. So if I want to integrate, Shopify with NetSuite, for example, and there's a user community that have built, thousands as well that you can leverage. So the main point is you never really start from scratch when you're doing this. So that's again, another way to save a lot of time. Just again, if you follow some of the trade press, Workato is way up there, both in the Forrester Wave and Gartner Enterprise on the platform as a service and the automation. So there's a lot of R&D money going into this as well. So it's just they're on the right track, and then they've got a lot of successes, which I'll talk about right now. So let's talk about art of the possible. So art of the possible. So again, the purpose of this section is hopefully to have everyone help you think a little bit about what can be done with these types of tools, and then you can kind of translate it into your own organization, where it might provide some benefits. So here's an example from Slack. So Slack is actually what we're going to use in our demonstration, but most people are familiar with Slack. So Slack uses Workato internally, and that's Stephen Franchetti, who's the CIO. There's a great video that we can show later if you want, that he talks about how they use it. But the important point about the slide here is they've done, well over 1,000, almost 1,300 automations with Workato that crosses all parts of the business: IT, sales, marketing, finance, HR, legal. What you'll notice is only 9 people in the IT department are working on this. The rest are being done by business analysts and business users. So his point is you couldn't do this. You couldn't do this with just a traditional IT department. You couldn't do this even with a huge IT department. So having the tools available to the right business team members really allowed them to really ramp up what they can automate. So a lot of if you're an existing client of One Pacific, you're probably using Oracle NetSuite. So we just wanted to highlight this slide. Again, there's pre-built connectors to NetSuite. There's generally no coding required. As I said earlier, we've done several projects already and can attest that it's quite easy to hook things up. So for our clients, we get the same amount of work done, but a lot quicker. And then we can do more work and keep people happy. But pretty much any major system that you're using, they've already built a connector to. So whether it's Salesforce, ServiceNow, ADP, Oracle, SAP, the Slack, the connectors are already in place. And again, when we go through the demonstration, you'll see how they're already in place and that, the standard data fields, everything's already there. So another company a lot of us have heard of, so Broadcom. So they're using Workato as a platform for their onboarding process. So obviously a lot of employees, again, like Logitech, they took a holistic view of what they're trying to do. So we've got Workday as the core HR, we've got ServiceNow for provisioning, and you've got Okta for other logins and things like that. So everything's automated, right? From the employee signing up to the services being provided to the emails updating the employee of what's happening. So again, it's a holistic view that looks at the entire process before they automate it, not just one at a time. And then what we see when companies do something like this is once you get the entire automation in place, then you start to fine tune it as you go on. And so you start to kind of add more and more value as you fine tune it, and then you see other things you can automate. So it creates sort of a virtuous cycle. But again, it's getting that holistic view up front and doing the whole process and then improving from there. So it's sort of similar to a manufacturing continuous improvement process. So here's another case. This is kind of interesting. So this is using Slack, and this is the objective of this is really to automate and speed up the inbound leads. So we'll do a little bit of this in our example coming up, which is why I wanted to show it. But what the process is here is the sales rep gets lead information pushed to him or over Slack. But before it happens, the automations goes out to different systems, pulls in the relevant information for that lead or that opportunity. So basically the background research is done automatically. The information, the final information is pushed directly to the sales team. So they have all the information they need to call the prospect or email the prospect and go on to the next step. So the result is they can respond, and this is actually true, within 5 minutes. And this organization saw a 4 times increase in conversion to meeting attendance, right? So it's reacting faster with the right information. Again, and the automation provides the backbone for this. So that's just some examples of kind of hopefully, the art of the possible to give you some ideas of what can be done and also give you some ideas of the scale that these types of solutions can handle. Again, so it's not just a simple back and forth. It can be, but you can have hundreds of thousands of records and data as well. So even for large scale integration, it works quite well. Or if you're pushing data into or out of a data warehouse for analytics, it's a great tool for something like that. And with the automation, you can basically make sure all your data is updated in real time. We talked about some of the examples earlier about being holistic and looking at the whole thing. So really understand what the process is you want to automate. Think about the planned workflow, what data is required, what systems need to be connected, and who the users are that are involved. And then you can come up with basically a business case or some value around it that'll help drive the automation. One of the things that is really, really nice about tools like this is you can do very quick pilots, right? So if I'm putting in a large ERP system, it's hard to do a quick pilot. But with tools like Workato and similar ones, I can come up with a workflow and I can pilot very quickly. I understand how the system works. I understand how my users, my team members are impacted. And then you can really take it to the next level. So that's one of the things we enjoy with this is we can work with clients on quick pilots and get things set up, teach you how to use it. And then we can help set up the workflows and integration and some of the business process work around it. So we're happy to help with that. So sort of a lead into that. So, contact us give us a call or email, and we're happy to talk about some ideas around automation in your organization. So we're happy to run a workshop these are really interesting, really fun. So we come in, we try to understand what your business model is, give you some advice on where you might get some value around automation, get your feedback because you know your business the best. And then we can come up with some suggestions for you. And then for Workato right now, if you want to give it a try, Workato is making available for a free trial, so we can get it set up for you, registered, and then we can help you do a quick workflow if you want. So think about what we've done today, but I'd say take it up a couple of levels if we're going to do a quick pilot, and then we can help you get things connected, show you how to do some of the more advanced stuff that Timothy showed, and then away you go. So if anyway, just give us a call. Email us or contact us, and we can help you get that set up if you're interested in exploring more. If you just want to know more about the tool in general, again, let us know. We're happy to either do a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting and provide more detail on how these things work and give you some examples of where other clients have seen some value from them. I think that's any more questions?
I'll just like to add that one of the charms about Workato is that you can have one workflow and you can have multiple systems, multiple departments into one integrated workflow. And this is something you can think about. And again, going back to the website, you can go check out the community recipes, give yourself a look and feel and see what is already available. And if you're in the free trial, obviously try that as well. Link your accounts, and take a look at the community recipes, and it will surprise you. It might surprise you what you can already achieve with multiple systems in the same platform.